Hello and welcome to a special post-game episode of The Left Wing. We're in the press box at the Aviva Stadium where, somewhat surprisingly, Munster have been put to the sword by the Scarlets, 46-22. Luke, I'm expecting some especially good analysis because we had about 30 minutes to compose ourselves because the game was pretty much dead after 50 minutes. You just have to wonder what Munster were looking at during the week because some of the Scarlets' first half tries looked identical to the way Leinster were ripped apart.
Yeah, well, look, the game had a real familiar feel about it, Will. Lots of turnovers, guys overrunning the ball, poor defensive decisions and poor kicking. The way the Scarlets were defending, you had to try and get territory against them. You had to try and get into the game that way. That was my own feeling watching them last week. I thought they have some really good fetchers on the ground. They slow up your ball well. They get extra guys in their defensive line, which means that it's really hard to break them down, and especially in the wide channels. And it's easier to get ready, to get set in the inside channels, but the outside channels, they have brilliant defenders. They're big guys who can, turn you around, have a big hit in you, and have big momentum changers. And I thought, if I was looking at that, I would have said, we need to kick really well, and they didn't do that, and I was disappointed to see them not, I suppose, deliver on, the basics of the game, but also to deliver on surely what would have been, you saw at the start of the game, a plan to kick the ball and kick it well. So disappointing all round.
Yeah, the Munster defensive effort, I think, left a lot of people a bit curious. When you saw their defence set up there, were they set up to defend the Scarlets' attack and just made poor individual errors, or did it look like they weren't even prepared for what Scarlets were going to bring? Because we all knew the way Scarlets were probably going to play. It
looked to me like it was a bit of a combination. I didn't think there was a couple of poor individual decisions. Some of the tackle technique was poor. I mean, Tyke Byrne, superb finish from him on the line as well. Yeah,
that's criminal.
I think it's unforgivable. Yeah, that was really, really poor. And very surprised. They've been really good defensively all season, especially in the tight. In the outside channels, off turnover ball, that was obviously one issue as well. Turning over the ball, they couldn't get any concerted pressure off the back of that, which is never good in the final against a tough team like the Scarlets. But turnover ball, there's a bit of disorganisation. Numbers are. You might have different guys in different positions where they're usually not used to defending. But that can happen, and you need to make good decisions. You need to realise who are the real threats here. Tyke Byrne had a lovely pass pre-contact for Johnny Davies, but it was Johnny Davies, and I don't know which wing it was. I think it was Steph Evans, for his try, was outside him. They're the threat there. You can let Tyke Byrne run with the ball because, let's face it, he's not going to run it. He's a quick guy, but you're going to catch him. Whereas you might not catch Johnny Davies or Steph Evans if they go through. Bad decisions like that on outside channels, as well as some bad tackle technique. I was really disappointed from a Munster perspective.
And when you get to a final, you need your key men to deliver if you're going to bring on the silverware. CJ Stanton for the second week in a row was quite subdued. What did you make of his display? Do you feel like maybe that ankle injury from a few weeks ago is still hobbling him, or was it just a poor day at the office?
Well, look, I think there was a lot of things contrary. The Scarlets' defence was excellent. I thought they went really low on him all day. They picked him out as a big guy for Munster to get momentum. They build a lot of stuff behind him. I feel like he's on his own an awful lot. I don't think he actually, he doesn't pass that much, and he can do it. I think that's an important part for someone like him. He doesn't get one-on-ones if he doesn't do that. And I thought they recognised that and said, well, look, I think he's on his own quite a lot. And he's just trying to, if we can get two guys in that contact area, we can slow him down and stop him at the gain line, and Munster won't get momentum off the back of that. So I thought that was probably a reason why, aside from the fact that he does look like he still, looks heavily strapped that ankle, so maybe he's not 100%, so hopefully he gets back in time for that Lions tour.
Yeah, a word on the Scarlets. Obviously, we're both Irish, we would like to see an Irish team win, but there was also something somewhat thrilling even about seeing a team play such a great attacking rugby and getting their reward at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's always nice to see, a bit of endeavour like that rewarded. They looked, they wanted to play rugby. Everyone looked comfy with the ball in their hands. Like I said earlier on, it was guys like Tyke Byrne, throwing passes on the line. It was Jamie Davies who threw out that beautiful pass as well for one of the tries in the first half. I think they let 2 or 3 gilt-edged opportunities go as well. They looked really good in attack. They were bristling with attacking intent. Everyone wanted to get on the ball. Everyone wanted to offload. Everyone wanted to pass pre-contact. Everyone was expecting the ball, and they were delivering as well on catching the ball. Munster and Leinster this week and last week didn't hang on to the ball in contact. These guys were brilliant there. And look, we have to say, the guys in the tight, Barkley as well was superb again. Turnover ball. With the backline they have, they're always going to be dangerous.
Was there an element of nerves? We talked about how Munster, how so few of their players had won anything of note with the team or of anything. they looked a little kind of nervy in the opening exchanges. There was a few drop balls, as you said, some defensive lapses. Do you think that could have played a part? Like, how, from your own perspective, your first final, how did you feel? How did that translate into maybe a nervous performance?
Yeah, it looked like it, lots of drop balls, guys looking, not being clear and concise, especially in the contact area, when they were going to the ground, they weren't presenting the ball correctly. Lots of guys overrunning passes, lots of poor passes. That to me signaled that they were nervous, and I think you need your leaders to stand up in that period. I didn't think they had their best games, the Munster leaders in there. I thought some of the kicking from those guys was poor, because that helps you get in the game if those things aren't going well, because effectively you just got to work hard, and everyone's going to do that in the final. You just got to work hard to chase a ball hard or whatever it is, or get down on a 50-50 once that ball is broken up. So things like that, you need kicking to go well, and Leinster had the same issues last week. They looked nervy. I'd probably put them down to slightly different things. I'd say maybe with Leinster, it looked like there was the key guys looked like they hadn't played much rugby in about 3 or 4 weeks, and I thought that was key. But here it looked like just maybe nerves. And look, maybe you need one or two of these things from a Leinster and Munster perspective to get you over the line, and that can be key. I mean, I know with Leinster myself, the team I was involved with, I was quite lucky, but the team before I came in had a few really tough losses, and sometimes you need those things to get you over the line. You need a bit of, I suppose, a couple of hard experiences, a couple of tough ones, to build, to help you realise, what really needs to happen if you want to win.
Yeah, and on that point, looking ahead to next season, like Irish rugby, the provinces are in a little bit of a strange place. Up to the semi-finals of the Champions Cup, everything looked rosy, but they've ended the season, both of them getting absolutely eviscerated by a Scarlets team who, though they played great rugby, have some great players to watch. They're not all top class internationals. Let's get down to brass tacks. They would have been about 50-1 to win the tournament at the start of the season, but yet they've eviscerated the two best Irish teams.
Yeah, look, it's been an incredible. I mean, the only thing is, I was actually you that said this to me pre going on air. They won 18 out of the last 20 games. Maybe we've underestimated these guys. I think Pivac looks like a guy. I was talking to Ken Owens at half-time. Says he's a guy that the guys want to play for, So they've done a really good job there from our own perspective, an Irish perspective. Look, I think this could be a good thing. There's a lot of young guys. There was a lot of, they did well in the Champions Cup semi-finals. Albeit, Leinster the shocking first 15-20 minutes, and Munster didn't really fire a shot, but they got to the semi-finals, which they hadn't been to in a while. So there's, a lot of good things. But there's the age profile of the squads. I think a loss like this could be really, really good for them. I think you don't want these guys on too much of a high horse. You still want that bit of hunger bristling amongst those young guys, aligned with the quality. And I think if they get those two things right for next season, I think that we're in a really good place, Will.
Well, yeah, hopefully so. Thanks so much for joining us today, pre-match and post-match. Pity about the result that Scarlets got the job done, but it was great to be here regardless. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll be back not this Monday, but the Monday following for the first Lions game of the tour. Until then, goodbye.